That's good. Okay. All right. Oh. Yeah. That feels good. Getting done with that. Yeah. And all right, now we're done. Posture. Okay, that was cheesy. So anyway, the first thing you want to do is figure out what you actually want. For me, I wanted a monitor riser stand thing that I could put the computer, my monitors on top of so that I would have space underneath to put some other things that would otherwise be taking up more space on the desktop. So it's a space efficiency sort of thing for me, and a nice added benefit, which I've found to be more useful than perhaps you would think originally, would be that the monitors being higher, you're not slouching or crouching, sort of hunching over in order to use the computer like you might naturally do if the monitors were too low. It's even high enough where I can kind of use it as a standing desk somewhat too, so that's pretty nice. Anyway, so once you find out what you want to make, then, you know, find the materials. For me, I was going to use used materials because my income is basically $0 right now. So I decided to use whatever I could get my hands on. So I took this, which was probably a piece of an old desk for the tabletop. Who knows, maybe it was part of an entertainment center. I don't know. I don't remember specifically. And then these other pieces of wood that you'll see here, the black ones, those are, I think, mostly from bed frames. But you can also get wood from entertainment centers and shelves and all kinds of old junk that people are throwing away all the time. So once you've found some of that stuff, and when you're doing it, try to keep in mind where you might be able to use these things. You know, some pieces will have some ends that are a nicer finish. Maybe they're beveled and painted or something like that, and some will just be cut raw, and you got raw chipboard on the end there, and it's pretty nasty looking. Well, maybe nasty's a little strong, but I'm not a big fan. Anyway. So keep those pieces in mind. And so I once I found these pieces, I decided to lay it out like you saw in the very beginning of this time lapse. You take what you want to put underneath the table and see if it can fit there with legs in a position where the material will allow you to actually build them on there in a solid, strong, rigid fashion. It also can help, if you're uncertain, to try and put all the things that you want to have on top of the tabletop or this little desk monitor stand riser thing, whatever you're going to use it for, on there as well. So the kind of upside down mock-up sort of helps quite a bit to make sure that you can actually do what you want to do. And always measure twice and cut once. I shouldn't have to say it, but you never know. I even used a pencil on the bottom and marked where all the legs and pieces would go to make sure that I didn't have any mistakes. And nobody's going to see it, so I'd recommend you do the same too. And then you got to find out how you're going to actually put it together. I decided to go with dowels, wood glue, and screws. Now, my dad had a nice doweling kit, which has like this doweling jig, a drill bit, with a little rubber stopper. It's kind of like a rubber band on it to keep you from going too deep. There's other ways to do that kind of stuff. And you don't need a jig either. It just helps you drill the hole in the right spot and perpendicular to the surface, which is really good. Then you, of course, need matching dowels to the drill bit size you're using, and it helps to have doweling centers as well. That can help you get the dowels in the correct place. So basically you drill into the leg, for instance, and I would drill a little bit extra far so that you don't end up with a situation where you try to squish it down or hammer it down and you just end up with a little bit of a gap there. So I'd always err on the side of drilling a little bit further for these sort of dowel holes on the leg side, but not the tabletop side. That way you can be sure that when you try and push it together, you're not going to be forcing the dowel up towards the surface of the table and potentially causing a bulge or a crack or something unpleasant like that. So anyway, the doweling centers go in the little hole, and then you basically tap it, and it creates a little indentation that then you can use to drill a hole. So yeah, basically I'm doing the dowels on each of the legs, and then I'm using one of these wood pieces with the paint side forward, trying to get the best outward appearance from the front as I can with these scrap pieces. And I'm drilling pilot holes into the legs, and I'm drilling clearance holes into these wood brace pieces, and I'm using wood glue. So make sure if you're doing these painted surfaces to sand that as well. That will make, like I'm doing with this sanding block right there, that'll make sure that the glue will stick really well. Of course, wipe off the the dust from the sandpaper, of course. But then, yeah, so you can use glue against the top of the table, and then screws into the legs. And those dowels will keep the tabletop from shifting side to side, and so will the glue. And so this ended up being a very strong table. I could probably stand on this thing. It's pretty good. So once you're happy with that, then all you got to do is clamp it, or in my case, I just found all the heavy hammers and junk I could find, put it on there, and that keeps it in place while the glue sets. And then you get to try it. And there it is, on top of this, which hopefully you recognize if you've watched my last video. But this has the stuff underneath. This case, I'm using this boombox as the sound system for my computer. And these monitors can easily fit on top of here, and I could accommodate probably 2 of these sort of size of widescreen monitors. I specifically wanted to allow for the use of this lip to be able to clamp to, so instead of having to have like big tripods with crazy lights on top, I'd be able to get something that can clamp on there. If you were looking to do streaming or just having higher quality video calls for business, you might want to be able to clamp things on there like camera mounts, microphone mounts, lights, etc. It's becoming much more common for people wanting to be able to actually just do that with Zoom calls. And a camera like the one I'm using right now, through the use of a capture card like this Elgato thing here, can be used for Zoom pretty easily. It's pretty good. They don't advertise it correctly because they should say UVC on it, but hey, everybody's dumb. Anyway, hopefully this was helpful. Maybe it would inspire you to give your back a break and be able to actually have a more comfortable work environment during all of this increase in remote working. And here we are again, back where we started. So if you liked this, then give the video a like, please. And if you'd like to encourage me to continue to try and make more things that you might find useful or interesting or entertaining, then go ahead and subscribe or leave me a comment on the sort of things that perhaps you'd like me to try. I've got quite a few ideas myself, but who knows? So thanks. Goodbye.